Hey, good morning, Radnor, fifth graders across the buildings. My name's Mr. Serpico. I'm going to take you through a math lesson this morning. Angles on a point. So 12.2 is the lesson inside the fifth grade Math and Focus. As you can see here, we've got some intersecting lines. Lots of things happening here. So let's go through the lesson. Hope you're having a great morning so far. It's just a fun little memory test game here. So we're going to try to match things up. Just take a peek at what we've got here. Protractor. Oh. Okay. 13 moves. I'm sure you guys can do better than that. What is the name of the math tool you use to measure angles? What is the name of that tool? The protractor. Okay, that was just a fun little warm-up activity here. So now we're going to go into a video walking you through more about angles at a point. Hey mathematicians, so we're looking at angles at a point. It says draw OD such that AD is a line. So OD, they want from A to D to be a straight line. So we just have to continue this from this vertice straight out. So if I had a ruler, this line would be absolutely straight right here. So let's talk about this idea down here, that the sum of measures at a point is 360. This can be a little confusing, the way it looks. It looks a little bit busy, so let's just break it down. The measure of angle Z plus the measure of angle X plus the measure of angle BOD, doesn't have a name there, and the measure of angle COD, all together they have to equal 360. Because if you think about a circle, forgive my lousy circle, if you think about a circle, there are 4 right angles in a circle, right? And each angle is 90 degrees. So if the angles at this point right here, if the angles at this point all kind of work together going around, then we know that each one of them all together, when you add them, must add up to 360. And that's a lot of what we're doing in this lesson. We're going to be figuring out unknown angles. So if this is a straight line, we know that's 180. We know that angle X plus whatever angle this is here are supplementary. They add up to 180 together. Okay, so let's explore some exercises around this idea of angles at a point. So I've got a little one question quiz for you here. It says, true or false, this student could figure out the measure of angle A even without a protractor. He or she just needs to remember what he learned about angles at a point. Now I look at, it's a young man here. I could click on the picture to get a better view. When you're using Nearpod in the classroom, it's a lot more fun. I'm just taking you through the lesson because not sure that the Nearpod link is working for everyone. But for teachers, that remains an option for this lesson. If you have Nearpod and the link works, you can send out the student pace lesson. So this young man's thinking about how things come together, finding the unknown measures of angles at a point. He's looking for the measure of angle A. That's the variable. That's the unknown. He knows this is 152. He knows this is 97. Does he really even need a protractor? The answer is no. He can just use the 360 rule, knowing that each of these angles, rather altogether, must add up to 360. If he adds 152 and 97, he subtracts that total from 360, and he gets 111 degrees, which looks about right. It's a slightly obtuse angle. So I'm going to stop sharing this and go back. And the answer here, could he figure this out without the actual use of a protractor? Yeah, that's true. He could do that. Now we've got a nice little video here about angles at a point.
Yeah, by now we all know what an angle is, right? But you may not know that just like people, angles have relationships too. Well, maybe not just like people, but y'all get the idea, right? Let's talk about the way angles work with each other. Y'all ready? Okay, let's take it from the top. Right from the tip. Angles have many types of relationships. If the measure of 2 adds to 90 degrees, then those angles are called complementary. So let's take a right angle. Boom! There it is. And if we draw a line down the angle like this, it creates 2 angles, 130 and 60. And they add up to 90. What could this be? A pair of complementary angles, right? But they also share an endpoint and a side, which makes them adjacent angles. But if the measure of the 2 angles adds up to 180 degrees, then the angles are supplementary. We can take a straight line, yeah, that'll work fine. And if we add another coming out, look at what we find. 60 and 120, 180 is the sum. The angles are supplementary, but we're not done. No, the angles are adjacent. They're from the same straight line, so they're a linear pair. What are angles that add up to 90 degrees? Complementary. What are angles that add up to 180 degrees? Supplementary. Okay, remember our line from earlier in the song? Well, what if it kept going on? It would make 4 angles. See them right there? Each pair of adjacent angles is a linear pair. So they're supplementary. If angles 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, then angles 1 and 4 are too. Then angles 2 and 4 have gotta be congruent. They're both supplementary to angle 1. That's how I knew it. And if angles 2 and 4 are congruent, then angles 1 and 3 must be congruent because they're both supplementary to angles 2 and 4. Now, do you want more? See these 2 congruent pairs of angles, 2 and 4, and angles 1 and 3. They're each across from each other, and they're called vertical angles, as we discovered that they're always congruent every single time. Now that we know their relationships, we can find the angle measurements with just a little information. I'll show you how it works. Let's sketch a situation. Come on. Take a look at angle 3. What we do know is that it's 30 degrees. So how do we find the measures of the rest? Let's see what you learn. I'ma put you to the test. Yes, 1 and 3 are congruent, the same 30 degrees. And we know angles 1 and 2 are supplementary, so they add up to 180. Well, that's nifty, because it means angle 2 has to equal 150. And 4 is vertical to 2. You know what that means. Angle 4 is also 150 degrees. What are angles that add up to 90 degrees? Complementary. What are angles that add up to 180 degrees? Supplementary. Yeah, y'all. And now you know about the relationships of angles.
All right, hopefully that was fun. Another 3-question quiz here to follow up on what we've talked about here today. So this is right out of your textbook, number 4. If you have that handy, what is the measurement for angle T? So if you look here, you've got 133, you've got 90, and then you've got this missing angle here. So if you added up your 133 and your 90 and you subtracted it from 360, what would you get? Well, I know it's not 360, and I know it's not 90. So it's either 133 or 137. Going to give you a minute to work this one out. Hopefully you've got a notebook in front of you. Well, at this point, I'm sure you figured it out that the correct answer is 137. Here's another one. Again, from your textbook, this is number 7, page 137. What is the measurement of angle Z? Let's take a peek. So you've got 81 acute, 44 acute, 76 acute, and then Z. So the 4 of these would add up to 360. Let me give you a minute to figure that one out. Add and then subtract. You can add 81, add 44, add 76, subtract those from 360. Or you could start at 360 and just subtract each of these 3 and see what you have left. Guessing you guys finished that. Obviously, it's not 81 because it's obtuse, clearly. It's not a straight line, so it can't be 180. So it looks like it could be one of these two. And if you did your math correctly, it should be 159. The last question in your quiz here is, what is the measurement of angle W? A hint from your virtual buddy. One angle looks like a right angle. Let's take a better look at that. So you've got a 45, you've got a 90, and you've got this reflex angle, this exterior outside angle W. Again, the same logic, 360, 90, 45. How do those 3 numbers fit together like a puzzle? Which is a simile, by the way, right? We'll touch on ELA. So I'll give you a minute to figure that out. And I'm sure at this point you came up with 225. Let's see what we've got next in store for you here. Another quick video, and then we're going to have you do some independent practice. So the neat thing about this is you can watch it, you can pause it. If you want to take some notes, submit some notes to your teacher, or just keep a learning log at home of the things that you're learning for when we do get back to school, or if you have to take a quiz at some point. It's always great to keep notes of your learning. And you would be titling this lesson 12.2 Angles at a Point.
In this video, we are going to focus on angles at a point. In particular, we have 4 different angles here. Complementary angles, where all the angles in this 90-degree angle add up to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles, straight line equals 180, so all angles on this line must equal 180. Vertically opposite angles, this cross looking shape here, we have these 2 identical in size and these 2 identical in size, and all of those add up to 360. But it's important to know that they will be the same measurement, the same degrees. And angles at a point means that every angle at this point here all the way around adds up to 360 degrees. There's a correct way of showing your working out, and we're going to look at that now. So let's take a look at the first one here. We're trying to find angle A. So we go angle A equals, so 80 degrees equals. Now I know that all adds up to 90 degrees. So if I have 90 degrees and then subtract what I've been given here, which is 40 degrees, what I find that's left over will be my missing angle. 90 degrees minus 40 degrees is 50 degrees. So I've now solved the unknown angle. In any question that you do for this, you have to then write down the type of angle that you have worked on. In this case, I've already written it at the top, but you would write complementary angles underneath to show your understanding of the angle. The next one is supplementary angles. So I know that that straight line, all angles on a straight line equal 180 degrees. I've been asked to find angle Y. So Y degrees equals 180 degrees, subtracting what I've already got here, which is 120 degrees. Because if I subtract that, what's left over will be my missing angle. And when I do that, I get 60 degrees left over. And again, I must write the angle type underneath here, which is supplementary angles. Over here for vertically opposite angles. This one I don't need to show any calculations for because I know that this angle is equal to this angle. I also know this angle here is equal to this angle there. So if I've got to find E degrees, which is the missing angle they're asking me to find, all I've got to do is look opposite it, and it's 60 degrees. And again, I have to write vertically opposite angles underneath to show my understanding of that angle. The last one here is angles at a point, and all the angles at this point here will add up to 360 degrees. So again, I've been asked to find a missing angle. In this case, it's X degrees. And if I know that's all 360, that's my starting point, 360 degrees. Now I have to subtract all of that total there. And what's left over will be my missing angle. So I have to subtract the total of these angles, 140 degrees plus 20 degrees plus 80 degrees. And I just drop down the 360 degrees on the next line. I add all the measurements up in the bracket, which comes to 210 degrees. So now I go 360 minus all the other angles added up, which is 210 degrees. And when I subtract that, I get 150 degrees. So now I know the angle X is 150 degrees, and again at the very end of this I need to write down the type of angle I've been working on, and it's angles at a point.
And now an open-ended question. Write and draw a set of angles that could have a sum, and that should be SUM of 360, but must have one right angle. So a sum of 360, but must have one right angle. So I don't have the pen feature available to me. So this is something that you can do in your notebook just to practice, maybe check it with a parent or a sibling, or perhaps maybe send a diagram of this drawing with the question to your math teacher. And here are your choices here. So write a set of 4 angle measures that must have a sum of 360 and a sum greater or less than 360. So obviously the correct set would be a sum of exactly 360. If it was greater or less than 360, then you need to make adjustments to your angles to fit together like that puzzle we talked about earlier. So we'll move on, but this is available in your textbook right as part of lesson 12.2, angles at a point. So now it's time to reflect, take some notes, and then work independently. So the 12.2 pages in your workbook that you have with you at home is 135 to 138. Have fun. Thanks for listening, and take care.